So this is Warlock, a little fluish, a little. I made a drastic decision because it just felt right for on so many levels and for so many reasons. Uh, Also, practice what you preach. I always want to believe that you have to send the energy of compromise, and it's a little bit like when I made the disclaimer. So all my testimonials now, if and when I put them, it's going to be a little less often. Like now, I'm not. It's not a testimonial, but when there are observations and recordings and events that happen to me, I believe even with the new laws, they're going to have a hard time. Even when if I make speculations or evaluations, like they probably they did and they probably will. I could say that I think, because we don't know if a law is already bizarre, and I've put things about that they could twist anything. I'm expecting for different reasons, and I won't explain again. And it's hard to speak in a censured way, but this is again. I repeat, pete repete. These are the last. It's like when you're tired, like you're very tired, but you're near the end of the race, and this is why I could confirm. I don't know right now. See, I'm not going to say why. For a while, it was too quiet. I was even worried because it was too quiet, especially on top of me and the next doors too. But wait, the moment, almost like at 4 and 5 in the morning, I started. It's not at 5, but around 6ish, let's say, I started hearing upstairs. It's years. It's at least a year that I don't hear intense thumping or whatever moving around. And like I said at the beginning, I saw, and these are observations. I'm not judging. I'm not trying. I'm not insulting. I'm not saying they have to stop. Or I saw water, like tons of water falling on my balcony, and that's why I started talking to the person upstairs. And if you remember the testimonials, interpret them as you wish. Me, it's with no anger and no judgment, but I know that they're very sensitive, or they pretend to be sensitive. Whoever is in my environment, or you heard a big, boom, boom, boom. I just heard a big one. So it did not take long, because everything that you do that seems kind, just like when downtown people say when you're kind, it's not a weakness. People that then you see who comes up, it's almost like saying, people have told me, take away your visor, right? And you saw when people told me, take away your visor, you saw that video. I think I still left it. I was like, oh, I was like so sick. And who was around me? Again, it's not a testimonial, it's an observation. Police. Innocently? No, they did not look innocent. Their look was very guilty. So now, is the person upstairs a person that came at 5, 6 in the morning to do pretend construction, like he told me once? Oh yeah, me, I just went upstairs. I go, oh my God, it's really loud. Oh, sometimes I sleep, they come in my apartment. Because before I heard like boom, 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 like as if somebody falls, and sometimes like the noise I heard for the last 3 hours with Apopex is I thought I had to call like the emergency, the 911, even though people know that I have many reasons why I don't, because I thought somebody got hurt or somebody was fighting upstairs. So from so silent that I logically, since in the past, and I went to court and there was products being placed and it was confirmed in court. So I was worried when it was silent. I go, are they putting, now I'm worried, what are they doing? Construction, or is it just harassment? Because it's up to you what you want to believe, and it's up to the government and the censors saying what are we allowed saying when we're living a situation that's, are we allowed not reporting? Are we allowed going that anybody that police or housing organizations, or it's really really loud? And of course it's funny that this started not minutes, but let's say within an hour or less of me erasing most of my channel testimonials. Why did I do that? Was it out of fear? No, it has absolutely nothing to do with fear, but logic. And let's just say I can't explain that, because then they could twist that around too. That's my imagination, or that I'm not stable. Because this is the idea of one, the authorities or companies, big companies, they have the power. They decide what's real and what's not. That's why I put those ones. And I think that's the only time I heard police, is not when not when I erased my videos with a lot of testimonials. And of course, if you've seen the last few with what I've lived, my accusations were extreme, but they were also real. And all I said, see, I'm not repeating because I don't know what I'm allowed reporting now with the gag orders If they would, meaning is if they would come up with a reason to take away my phone and my internet, they don't need a big reason. But for me, what do I do if I can't get access to lawyers? I can't stop them from harassment, from attacking me when I go out. What do I do? This is my question to the public. What would you do in my place? That's why I'm making a video. I'm saying, now I'm hearing a lot of noise that I didn't hear in a long time. So were they stopping from harassing me, whether it was people going in the apartment upstairs or the person himself that was giving permission to harass me, if he saw that I wasn't going to report it? So now I'm reporting it. I'm making a new video. I erased all of them. It's the same thing like before. I erased my channel at least once or twice, all of it. Like now, it's edited. I took away all the testimonials that someone could say, oh, I'm scared of what I said and worried about that. They could still do it because they could think, look how he's paranoid. Anything. It's like when you want to hurt someone and you have status and you could put stamps on it, governmental, or you could. That's why I'm saying I'd rather put one that people know at least why. This is also an explanation why I took out all my testimonials, or 90% of them, at least the ones in the last year or so. I think there's more after, but the thing is, if they would say, well, we find out, I say, well, I didn't know that there's laws that we can't, are there laws that we could breathe or not? So they could, like now knowing that I'm not succumbing, I'm not giving in to the dictatorship, I'm just trying to compromise, but they see that as weakness. So not even an hour after I took away my videos, I'm reporting now. I heard like boom, 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 upstairs, like as if there was a party. And that's what I used to say before when I was worried. That because the more I made videos about noise, the more them not to look guilty with other neighbors, because if the walls are very thin, they would say, but why is there all this noise going on at 6 in the morning? Like, I don't think there's construction anywhere, just like next door. Again, I'm just stating facts. Before the person that's now there that could hardly talk was there was a guy sleeping over there. And like I said, again, testimonial, this has nothing to do. I'm not judging, I'm not hating, I'm not saying, police, you're mean, it's undercover. Somebody smiled at me with glasses and then I had marks on, I don't know which, because there's so many times it happened. So I'm just giving you the essential reminder of the other videos, like when I put spiritual things, the basic thing about spirituality, what is it? Remember, be still and know thyself. That's the teaching of Jesus. Not, oh, if you don't believe in Christ, you're damned. Go to Jesus following. This, for me, that's just manipulation. For me, that's intimidation. That's control. We have everything we need to be alive, to be self-sufficient. That's why the system is built on anything. It's the amenities, electricity, water, power, even sewage. It's all controlled by the government. Don't you find that funny? I'm not making any accusations in my situation. This is not a testimonial. It's an observation about society. So it's obvious that everything is out of our control. Everything looks to me, and if you think about it, like a slave system. And again, Bill C2, C8, C9, C63, what are they? Just tools. They're tools to further control and punish dissent. So I'm giving into that because it's almost like when I decided to say I'll open the door, but they broke it anyway. So I'm saying is, if they make up things to hurt me, and I know I'll be further punished if I don't follow, what can you do when it's becoming like now, their last grips, just like now I've been hearing like bum, 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 and it's getting worse. It's 3 hours, so it's not construction, because I don't even, and I'm not going to say hammering, because when I used to mention something like that, then they used to hammer on purpose to bother me. So the idea is, when you want to keep someone always stressed, the idea of society is stress, misinformation. It's everything about conditioning. You have to be a pawn. You have to be controlled and punished whenever they feel like. And even if there's no good reason, they don't need one. They just stamp it. Like me, I could show, I could. I don't know what I'm allowed doing. That's why I'm making this testimonial about not knowing what I'm allowed doing. So I don't think they could actually punish me on this video, because again, even if there would be a clause that they could interpret or get offended by this video, I did not know that laws like that should even be allowed. But I did read up on them, and they look real. The one with Bill C63, they used it on me. I could read it right now. One day he may defend himself. That's not a reason to take away someone's freedom. It's not even close. And it shouldn't be. Again, so this is my testimonial, even if they want to use this video, about why I will censor, and I will have to, just like now, I'm observing, since I took out most of my testimonials for the last year or so, for precautionary. It's not about fear. It's not about, don't worry, Apopex, I'm not scared of you or the police or anyone, even if you, whatever. I'm not going to go into saying, oh, you're saying things that are stressful to some sensitive neighbors. I wonder why they would do, if somebody makes up something out of their mind, something that they have no solid proof or recordings of, why they're complaining about someone. I wonder what that means about them. Apopex, police, or certain neighbors. So this is what I mean is mental impurities, mental concepts. Me, I don't go by concepts. I go by noise. Now, maybe even I didn't record. I'm not going to start putting sensors because and another thing right now, which I'm testifying to, even though before I was a bit more too free meaning is I thought there was freedom of speech. That's what I meant. And I knew that there wasn't, and there's that twisting of the freedom of speech, meaning is they could twist freedom of speech to incriminate you and punish you or whatever. That's the corruption of the laws. So right now I'm only testifying that the laws are messed up. And if before the person upstairs that they put him there would be like this all the time, but now they sort of either, I don't know, I don't know why, but when I made those testimonials about noise, and there was some, I don't know if you could always hear it, but it's not about me saying I'm bleeding in my apartment. Who could it be? Why am I bleeding only in my apartment? What are the logical options? And again, I don't want to repeat all those things. Right now, why am I hearing noise? Right now, it's not blood, but sometimes it's always something. It's always something. I couldn't open my window. Why? I could reconfirm that testimonial and that I filmed funny vehicles, funny trucks. Why were they there in bizarre, whatever? I think cars, two of them revving outside, doing like a car maneuvers. They had like black tape. And when I opened, I got a red mark on my chest. Am I allowed saying that? Is there any law that could actually tell me you're not allowed saying your living experience? Probably not logically, but in my particular case, since they could say, look, we locked him up because he already got put in psychiatry. Yes, because of corruption. If you make up stuff, if a doctor gets mad because you don't sit down, that's not a reason to put someone in psychiatry. If you raise your voice in a threatening way, if you touch someone in an aggressive way, or even at all touch. But wait a minute. Police does do that. They have done it. But they don't get any negative, How come? And even certain situations that I've lived in my building are like that, but nobody gets punished except me, that I'm the victim. So you might say, oh, you have a psychiatric problem that you see yourself as the victim. No, I don't. That's why I make these videos. That's why I denounce. That's why I'm not scared to go make complaints. That's why I'm not scared to even try now. But that's why all I could say is I'm canceled. I know that I could never defend myself if they would come up with another twist another one of these C2, C8, C9, C63. I'm doing predictive crime, predictive prevention. This video is not really it's a testimonial prevention that I could say also to the judge if I ever, or sometimes they don't need to pass you in front of a judge. Like in the past, when they made that warrant with Bill C63, I had to pass in front of a judge for them to detain me for a month or longer in the hospital, more than 3 days. But they didn't need it now. Now they don't need it because if somebody like now, there's one, and I already know from what I've lived and the paperwork I've seen, if a neighbor feels scared or worried, or if the police agrees, and of course the police doesn't like me, hey, I left off. So this is what I'm saying is there's a motive for them to do, like some of the videos I said, selective punishments, like selective, it's a selective persecution with these extreme authority laws, meaning that the people in status, the people, police or group, these censor groups, what they see on the internet, that's where the abuse is. Now, is it going to continue, the banging and up? I might just put it in the comments. It continues. But I find it funny that it's a month that I did hear some things, but it seemed like the difference from an hour or half an hour after I started erasing most of my testimonials that were like long and sometimes emotional. You shouldn't do it. Because in the moments that I'm expressing that I'm pretty sure that you have a vehicle or you have noise in the building, then there's no noise, then you feel sick only in the apartment, then you bleed, and then when you go out you feel better, you say what circumstances lead you to extrapolate that. The police smiles at me, then I have one of these famous marks on my body in a mill. someone gives me a paper from Apopex, and then I have a bruise on my hand, and I think I left that one on my hand, on my arm, and it feels like somebody like hit me with a baseball bat. So, like my face, police are roaming around like sharks. It's just a joke. I hope they don't get offended and lock me up. So what I'm saying, that's the observation. I don't want to judge. And then my face was like this. So, since they were walking around with all these gadgets in their pockets, which they have a lot, usually they use for helping or for necessity, if it's for protection, but when you attack people, even if you do it in a secret way or with one of these special laws that are coming up in December 2025 or January or even June 2026, they say some are going to be delayed, but the one I fear, the one of the neighbor worried having someone because obviously if somebody has told me directly, I will do everything to make your life miserable. And for what reason? Because I don't obey. So that in itself should be a defensive, not pre-crime, but preemptive defense. But wait a minute, if the law says I'm not allowed defending myself, not physically, not testimony, what am I allowed doing? Maybe soon even breathing and eating, and since they poisoned my food, they poisoned my water. Oh, wait a minute, that's an accusation that could offend the police. So I'm sorry if this law is... So what do? I just accept dying and being bombarded upstairs. It's like now it's going to go on. It's the last 3 hours. If it was even construction, they would have taken a break after 2 hours. No, it's boom, 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 boom. That's my life now. When I go out, I'm going to say, wow, wow. Because when I put these videos in the last couple of hours or whatever, I think this morning around 7 or 8, I put some videos about the laws themselves. That's why, so people get an idea why all my testimonials are out. Simply because they'll weaponize, twist and shout everything I've said or I'm saying even now at the moment. Look. Okay, I'm using comedy, but what can I use to express how frustrated and how unfair I think my life is becoming? How ridiculous, and how there will be consequences. I wonder why I say there's consequences, but I don't seem to be able to do any of these consequences. I seem to be one day, okay, maybe they might say I'm crazy imagining even this, but is it really an imagination that they just come and get me and say, okay, this is your cross, we're going to drive you around Montreal nailed? Okay, that was a theatrical meme or something, but is it so much far from... If you've seen my other testimonials, when I was allowed or when I felt I was allowed or I felt comfortable saying them. Now, it's not that I don't feel comfortable. I just don't know if it's worth it, getting my frustrations and my pain and denouncing what I'm living, because it's something that nobody's listening, not legally, not in any way. No support group ever calls me back. And this is my hell, or my... How do you call that? My forging. I could see this as forging, because I'm not going to change. My soul is not going to change. Whatever they do to me proves that they're persecutors and I am the persecuted. And now you might say, why? Do I seem so bad? Do I seem that I'm saying things? Did I ever physically do? Does anybody ever hear me say, I want to hurt that person? No, I want to help that person. I want to compromise. I want to even take whatever punishment that doesn't affect my health or my peace of mind, meaning banging night and day on top of my head. That was probably police, who knows? Or that person is, because again, they might say, oh, look, you have why did it start? It's more than a couple of months that level of noise, I never heard it. Not for like 10 minutes and then it's like you can tell when it's construction. I've done a little bit of construction, whether it's helping family, friends, and it after 3 hours that it seems like as if it's living, but it's like boom, 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 and it's right on top of me. It's just harassment. And it started like this morning around 6, like boom, 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 like on like, and it's easy to do it when it's under you. Like right now, if I start hitting my foot, like the person's gonna hear it, right? So why does that have to go on? Why do they evaluate? They look at it like a trophy. Look, he already got brought into psychiatry. No kidding. You just tricked me to signing a paper. The police hurt me. So this is a recap of that. They hurt me. Then when I went to the hospital and didn't like it's just an inflammation. But they didn't mention that it could have happened even, and what the police officer that grabbed my hand, he didn't grab it, but whatever. I presume because it started hurting and I saw the mark after that there was that, and I think of course I still have it there, the one with those two STM officers. So what do I do? What do I do now? Do I keep living? Do I of course I'm going to record, but that's just proof for me, or on the slight chance that I might ever see a day in court to defend myself or to make accusations. I don't want to make accusations, but if my life keeps being noisy, attacked, followed, whatever other gases, who knows how it's going to be my life here. Because again, people see kindness, people see a gesture for compromise. It's not only a gesture for compromise, that's my honesty. It's also because I don't know after December or even by late November what they're going to do to punish me, because they cannot take all the videos I made recently. They were extreme, but they were honest. That's the thing I could say. That anything I've said in any video, even and hit, I don't think these laws are retroactive, because that would be silly. You did this last year, so we're going to punish you now. They said for what I researched, but then again, these laws should be scrutinized. There should be pamphlets, not to go vote, pamphlets to vote against laws like this. Then I would believe that the government has some kind of censorship for themselves, not for other people, that they have some kind of logic. But no, people have to complain. Like if you saw one of my shorts, the guy says, oh, people did complain a lot about these laws. Some of them, that's why these organizations like the Canadian Constitutional Foundation, the other one, the guy mentions it, that there's a short that I put prior to this video. So this is a testimonial about why I took down most of my testimonials. I left some things that were, because they were they weren't concise and short. They were almost like podcasts. It was almost like me talking with friends about what I'm living and my theories. So I think they should have been labeled under that Patreon podcast. But even that, I don't even know if I'm going to keep it. I think I put a Patreon thing just because I don't know. I don't know how that works. And like I said, most of my applications don't work. I'm surprised that one works, because I am hacked. Am I allowed saying this, police? I am hacked. I am censored. 7 years of my emails disappeared. Twice evaluated by force in psychiatry illegally. For me, it's illegal because there was no logical basis. It was based on that optional weaponized clause, meaning is that there's selective punishment with these laws, meaning they don't like someone, they have nothing on them, but they say in the future, you could hurt me. I fear you. I'm uncomfortable with what you said. So these are laws that are subjective, open to interpretation the way the person likes. And if that person has connections with the police or group or company, they could punish just anybody. And this is why this is not a disclaimer, or it's not an apology why I took down my videos. Is because I was sort of testifying in a podcast manner instead of just informing and teaching for me and for the public. So this video is like that. What do I do now if things that happened before? What do I do even if I reach summer, if I can't open my window because there's trucks there punishing me? Just like now when I went and see my water, I have to filter it, boil it, and every time I drink it, I feel sick. So am I allowed saying that? Am I so crazy? Why would I could prove that I have sensitivity? So even if they would say, look, that guy has that much creative imagination and he blames the police. Well, who else could it be? The police is always following me. The police has technology to hurt people in a distance and do CRISPR type poisoning. I know that even them, they admit it. If only I would have recorded. See, sometimes it would be good to record even though it's technically not allowed in the hospital. If I would have recorded at least the voice of that nurse, she goes, oh, it's not like the regular swab test. That was a swab for genetic investigation. Like when they show on TV, get your kit, something with the genetic family. Those are all schemes. That's my opinion. But again, if you say you're spreading disinformation and fear, I'm not spreading that. I go to my opinion. You believe what you want. Anything I put on my videos now is going to be mostly shares. Anything I've said now, you could laugh it off. But if you're so sensitive and then you have to jail me or detain me or do some kind of punishment because of what I said that you don't agree with, which I have visual, motivational, auditory, I have proof for everything I've said. Maybe not the noise today that much, because why would I lie about that? It would be silly, right? I complained that there was no noise, so that's how you know I'm honest. And for often, and I was suspicious that they would do some kind of, and even now they were doing some kind of like, who knows what they're, because sometimes it does feel like I feel ill for minutes, and then when I make a video, even though now I might be sort of careful when I make them. It's just an observation. So if police or the laws stop people from observing their environment and communicating what they're living, then they should say it on TV and say, we're just taking away your internet completely. You have no freedom of expression at all. That would be more maybe scary, because it would mean maybe that people would be demonstrating. That's why with this video, if you don't see more, you know what I mean? If even this testimonial, which is so censored that I could hardly, like, I don't even know what, like I'm 3 times thinking what I'm saying just to see, can someone twist? So imagine how we're in, just like when the doctors, and they were right, those doctors that put that tape on their mouth, they're right. But unfortunately, they're only thinking about Bill 2, which is not Bill C2, which is even worse than Bill 2. It's the same number, but with a C in front of it. And I would call them catastrophic laws that show that the energy of the planet is going too much in a sporadic attempt at gripping, because a lot of things are coming, like David Icke says. I do believe but it's too negative. I think David Icke has too much of that serious, that I showed it because it does make sense. There is that consensus that demiurge, whether it's an energy or a real being from another dimension, those are things we don't even, not that we don't have to think about. We have to think about the light, honesty, truth, what we're always conditioned to believe, what we're always there to do. We're always there watching and listening to what the government tells us, not to what we think our creative thoughts are not creative thoughts. We only create when someone in a center, even let's say a community center, they work well, but they tell you when to meet, they tell you when to say, oh no, now you have to stop talking to that person because we're having a meeting. If they don't have separate rooms, they shouldn't tell anybody to stop socializing because they're doing something that, so it's always about control, even if it's minute. Some centers have more freedom. Some say, like, I don't want to say for what reasons, because again, I would be going about personalized things that they could say. Well, you know what I mean? All I could say is that there's certain centers that say you can't talk about religion, politics, or whatever. Religion or politics, basically. But there's also, I don't know, law. It's just silly. And it's like, if those places are 18 and over, you should be able to talk as long as it's one-on-one with someone. No, but they come and spy on you. Oh, you said that. You can't talk about that. Some centers I went, I don't want to go back because it's silly. And like I said, there's not many centers that help and that it's not related to mental health. So there, no matter what happens, they could label you all. You have to be evaluated because you're not in your state of mind. So the biggest weapon against us, besides these ridiculous laws, is that especially Quebec has these clauses that they could judge you, evaluate you without your consent and without you doing anything. This is what it makes it funny. The guy with the bus recently. Oh man. Now that is ridiculous that guy should be free, or the guy takes a bus. It doesn't matter if he did it out of hate, out of some kind of possession, if that exists. The guy shouldn't be free. It should be over. That's why I said that by forcing me in evaluations with me talking about love, peace, and noticing these extreme, means the government supports any chaotic, violent, morbid, lying situations as long as it's on their side doing to others. Just like I don't want to say it because somebody may get offended if I talk about my situation and my paperwork, who I think even participated, they might get offended. So that's what I mean. How can I say that I got detained or evaluated or forced into an evaluation and it was wrong if I can't say it? So you understand that the disgusting, horrific thing why I say Bill C2, C8, C9, or the mixture with the Bill C6 is horrific, and why I'm making this testimonial. Even if they would want to use this video against me because they deem the videos, but retroactively, again, they could find clauses because, again, following someone and surveilling someone has been admitted to, but torture never. So this is where it comes to, or intentional, I don't want to go back to my testimonials. So the things I've said in my testimonials prove that they go far and above beyond the call of duty or the laws. So even though now there's some extreme laws, I have to expect them to stretch them even further to further punish me. if what I've said in the recent videos when I went out, and I just repeated it now, that my observation and my extrapolation, without hate, without judgment, is that the police and their helpers, not Santa's helpers, poison me. Imagine what I'm saying and how wrong it would be for them to censor me and how guilty they would look if you don't see my channel or my phone, if you call me, or if you check my channel and it's completely gone. Imagine what that proves from my side, not their side. They could say, oh, well, we agree, he's crazy, and take away my freedom, even put me on a cross. It's, again, dramatization. Don't get offended. Don't get offended. Yeah, I know who you are. Because this is what it is when someone is so not happy, their soul doesn't connect with the real power. This is why, like me, this video is to show people, instead of coming in a situation physically where people misinterpret my compromising, how do you call that? Not conclusion, but my choice was to go with safety because my health, I can't, yeah, I mean, that's it. But I'm admitting that my health is fragile. And even people have said it now. Flu, is it the flu natural? Is it more? So I'm not going to get into theories. But the point is, it's like I'm weak. I can't fight any longer. And especially these laws, I've tried and nothing gets done. Imagine, I'm weak. Every time I go out, I have to protect myself from things I notice on my body that are not supposed to be there. They're not there in my apartment. And you remember my testimonials, and if some people have downloaded them, I congratulate you. I wish I would have been more. I would have waited to do them and explain things more in a neutral way and said, of course, that they could say, look how unstable he is. But because those products, the way I feel even now, the constant stress of having someone pound on your head for 3 hours, and that happened, it's months that it didn't happen because there was a lot of recent videos about the way I live with Apopex. So what does that lead me to believe? That every crack in my chink in my armor, like it happens literally when you see marks of, like every part of my body that's not properly protected gets what you just saw. How come it doesn't happen over here that you see these marks? It's only where, okay, because this is the selfie camera. But meaning is, like, you see my wrist only near the opening, not here. Well, there is some there too, but because they spread or whatever, I don't know what the heck that is. But that's what I mean. Some of it, I feel it near my stomach. Now, my stomach is always with, like, only after I had the, oh God, it's just horrific what I'm living. But the best one I did, and I think I by accident erased that one, is that you see me out, you see me waiting for a bus, and then there was, I don't know which kind of emergency, I think it was a fire truck, but it could, because they weaponize every truck and they send police and ambulances, fire trucks. This is my observation, and I have a video that the guy actually says, look, they have a black bag behind. So is this a reason for you to punish me? If it is, then the laws are getting really extreme. Expressing truth even when nobody helped you to get it, and you somehow were lucky enough or intuitive enough to film it. So I film my hand, right, with my glove. And then, no, I film it with my glove cracked. So where you see the crack, you see a red mark. Then some people have said, oh, maybe you're allergic to the gloves. I'm not allergic to things that are not extremely poisonous or toxic in any way. So I took out my glove, and you see the only spot that, like I showed you now, the only spot that had something like that was where my glove was cracked. So the things you see now on my body, especially if they're near the crevices, how do you say that? Where you see your hand, that even if you have gloves, it doesn't cover the wrist part. So there's a lot of little dots there, and nowhere else on my chest, on my legs, in my shins or whatever. Sometimes there's itching when I had, like, twice I got ingested now. I am like a guinea pig, and also they experiment on which laws they could say, we think one day, out of his craziness, because they judge all this, well, that's crazy. And me too, I would think that. If somebody would be telling me, like the way I'm telling you now, it's crazy. But then again, why would I have a picture of me on the bus having a red mark, suspiciously looking like a big bug bit me, only where it's cracked my glove? I mean, there wasn't wasps that much. Well, there was actually, but not while, you know. And why would it happen only when that truck passed, that fire truck in that case? So this is what I mean. And it's not about what can I do about it? Not much. It's funny, now it's quiet, but then again, just because it's because they're checking on me 24/7 by every nick and cranny of my apartment. And their goal is to make my life so miserable that I'll either say or do something that they could further punish me. That's the thing. It's like the biggest one that I saw, and I don't know how they were doing it, but after a while it stopped. But it's like I was feeling sick, like extremely, like as if I was in a place with toxic gases, even though I didn't really. And then the moment I was making a video explaining it, I go, geez, if that was really pesticide, it wouldn't go away within seconds. So this is what I mean. You might think, oh, look, it has to be his imagination. No, it isn't, because you see the marks on my body and you see the vehicles that's like two on my side. What do they have? Did I ever hurt someone? Did I ever imagine little pigs flying? No, I imagine high tech, and I imagine noise, which you don't imagine noise in an apartment. These walls are so thin. You just go like this a bit. That's why sometimes you saw me in videos. Oh my God, there's not even one sound at all for hours. And now it was the opposite. For hours, it was nonstop. Nobody does what is this? How do you call that? Those things with the horses. It seems like similar to a rodeo sometimes. That's what I was. I'm sleepy. I had to do this again. This is a testimonial about erasing most of my testimony, or I don't want to give details, because I'm getting closer to the mid-November, and even though technically we don't know when it's going to get passed, when it's going to get applied, and let's just say the other time it was something I said that made me suspect the date, and now I saw something that makes me suspect the date is closer than the end of November. And again, it's not because I'm scared to say it, it's because also I observe things, right? It's not about extrapolations, conclusions. Biggest conclusion is not even an hour after I started deleting most of my testimonials. Upstairs. It wasn't the police right away, but the police, I heard them quite intensely after I re-uploaded to show, well, I'm taking them out because it's a technicality they could use to further punish me. Basically, that's the conclusion of this video. I could have made it nice and short like that, but you wouldn't have had. Now you have an idea that I'm still expressive and comfortable expressing myself, and I've tried my best to censor or to try not to let them have reasons to twist, because when you could twist things so much, that's where I say the only conclusion is that the government, like I showed. Oh, and that one, they always leave me the thing now. When I go to my channel, the one that I say a police state, Canada, a police state, they don't like that one, so they always give me no views. When I go to it, it has almost 20 views. But the one, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. I think you know, like this, the title one, it's like they're trying to tell me, don't put that one. Well, when you stop doing with these laws, when you stop making noise, following me, torturing me, that's when I'll stop saying it. This is, even though I don't have proof in your point of view, or you could twist this into my mental state, I have videos, and I have motive, and I have me as a witness and the marks on my body or the way I feel. So if we're not allowed expressing that, then you have to give me a warning, and then I take out this video. So this is another, it's not a disclaimer, it's just a factual. And retroactively, as far as I know, even these perverted or extreme, let's just say overreach laws, don't have that authority. So I'm not judging, and I'm not angry, and I'm trying to stay as honest and as compromising as possible. So I'm willing to not make videos like this, but the kind of thing I just saw, I had to do a preemptive, meaning is if I don't, I knew I had to explain to my millions of subscribers, billions of followers. But this is the thing. Spiritually, I probably have in the millions of people that follow my not my channel, but the content in my channel, obviously more than millions, I think more than billions, but not my content. The content is shared psychically through, but that's why, that is reality. This me fearing, and it's not fearing, it's just being logical that they're punishing me, because they are. Marks on my body are just the minimum that you could see. So, but it's temporary. And even now, I'm still able to be happy and connected to my soul, because I put a short with Emspiracy, but there's other ones that I put, Lyran, Venusian coded. There's so many, but some are short form, some are The Alchemist, Aaron Apke, but there's many. Well, I don't have many, but some, like now the Gnostic Way or something, see all of it. One of them is like 20 something minutes or 30 minutes. I had made 2 or 3 parts, even more, like explaining, but it's just some spiritual things are just repeats of the truth. Just like saying now, who's running the world? It's people that don't have our best interests at heart, or else I wouldn't be always every day like in a war zone. And that's the whole point of the Gnostics. They got destroyed. The Cathars and the Gnostics got practically all eliminated. I wonder why. And this is why I say that I'm persecuted even more than everybody in society. When you don't like to be controlled and you don't buy into everything they say on TV, that's basically it. It's the biggest narrative, what is said on TV. Then you get, there's like, especially now since we're in a surveillance police state, you get targeted. How, to what level? Me, because I was more suffering already with my health, so then people know, but I just fell into more and more and more and more. And now I'm trying to tone it back, and they just don't see that they're not doing their reputation any good by continuously bothering me and hurting me and trying to punish me just for pleasure or for... I am always more for finding like a truce, like real peace, not pretend peace, not gaslit peace, not pretend for a little while, then attack again. That's what I think is going to happen with this. They're going to try to test, okay, well, how comfortable he is with saying what's going on. Because truth is what scares everybody. What do you think? They're making ridiculous laws, and only people in status that are already corrupted, like say 80% of them. Again, I don't say I have proof of that, but that's what my intuition tells me. One day, intuition, my dear police and Applebex, is going to be law. In the sense that there's going to be people in status that are just and that people trust and that have proven themselves that they don't abuse. When you're in status, as you see now, if there's so many problems with the economy and with people's well-being and with people's transportation. Funny that I took out my channel, and today the bus and metros are working. I wonder why. It's not because of me only, but it is partially because of that. We are all connected and we're all influenced by each other. My testimonials happen to motivate or pressure people for more towards some kind of compromise. And sometimes they pretend that they're compromising and then slide back. Just like, it's almost like, if you've seen Star Trek, that creature there, but that creature was, if you see the story, it's like they point the gun, it backs away. They lower the gun, it's like me. I put the testimonials, that's my gun. My only defense power and aggressivity is videos saying, why are you doing this? The truth is a weapon. For who lies and punishes you upon imaginary, false, fake, or overreach laws, truth is the scariest thing. So that's why they try to hide it, subjugate it, call it crazy. Say, oh, that's crazy. Aliens are crazy. Psychic powers are crazy. Government overreach and corruption is crazy. Yet you see the laws and you see the demonstrations of millions of people on the street. If you see England as Belfast, just look at the videos. Oh my God, it's a revolution. I don't want a revolution for a factoid and for the... Because again, sometimes I forget that I have to censor myself, because soon these laws are coming. Soon, and also temporarily. I don't know if I should have said that. That might provoke them to show me it's going to be for a long time. Yeah. That's it. So nothing's going to change my world. I wonder why I said that. Because that's the truth. It's not Beatles' word or whatever. Nothing changes reality. We're all source and we're all playing a game. And I keep saying, and a lot of people like me, evolving, why do we have to make it so painful? Why do we have to make it always like with guns and threats and laws that take away what little we have? We already have so many conditions to be in a meat sack, in a body. Now we have to add more suffering and more stress and more lack of peace. So again, did I have to make this video? I think I did, because this is it was too quick My God, I said, okay, so now it's a couple of minutes. Now and that was done on purpose. And why do people have to? So they want me to make videos. So then, I don't understand. But anyways, so we'll see. I don't know if I am gonna upload this video probably. I don't know when. But yes, I'm exhausted, and it's like I don't want to think about the testimonials I did. I don't even want to believe it's true, and I don't want to believe every time I step outside that door, or even when I'm inside, bum bum bum, or even open my window that I can't. I don't feel comfortable anymore. And knowing that whether I leave the testimonials or put other ones, or whether they try to make up more stories to punish me, I still have to be tortured in some way or another until whatever time I have left on this planet. That is reality. I don't like it, but this is the world we live in. See, you got to enjoy whatever you have. You make an omelet out of it. Good vibes, like, subscribe, share. Remember what I said. If you don't see any more videos of mine, that means maybe it's time for I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I didn't say anything bad. So that's what I mean. I don't know what it's time for, but it's time that they stop abusing their law, making laws that abuse us. That's the basic point I'm trying to make in this one. They should stop that.